What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of Tactical Minds podcast. There's a dog here. I got the boys in here again. Curly's on his bed. Today, we're going to be talking about substance abuse, a very big topic that I've wanted to get to ever since I started this. And quite honestly, this is like one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, to hopefully let some people know that need help, that it's okay to ask for help in these instances along the lines of substance abuse, and as well tell my story um, in hopes, obviously, to help people, reach people, and I guess in ways to help me heal a little bit and maybe understand the point of view that some people had in my life during my my darkest time, which I don't remember. So, without further ado, we're going to get straight into it because there's a lot that I want to talk about. There will more than likely be part 2 of substance abuse. Mainly, this video will just be going over the actual substance abuse and what led up to it. I plan to do a second video more on how I overcame substance abuse, the road to recovering, overcoming, also mixed in with another perspective of it all other than mine, such as um, my fiance, for example. I had a very select handful of people that stayed in my life during that time. So, but she was the one that saw it all and witnessed it and went through it with me every single day. So that'll be a very interesting video, and I hope to get to that soon. So without further ado, I got some more notes. Try to help me keep from rambling again. So the first time getting drunk, my first time getting drunk. Uh, of course it was in high school. I wouldn't really say I got drunk, but the very first time I actually got drunk was right after I graduated basic. I came home. There's Apollo. I came home and drank uh Jack Daniels, at least like 3/4 of the bottle on my own. And since then, I have never drank Jack Daniels before or ever again in my life. The thought of it, the smell of it, I can't do it. At that point in my life, I was just drinking to have fun, like I was drinking to get drunk. I was drinking to have a good time. I was still underage. I was 19 at the time. So my irrational decisions didn't really account for abuse of the substance, didn't account for how it would make me react. Um, at that time, I didn't have any mental health issues going on. I was just solely having a good time drinking. But that is the first time that I can remember actually like getting plastered, was when I came home on leave. And in between that time and the time I had left before I deployed, I had gotten drunk. We drank in the barracks like every weekend, probably every weekday too. The last time I got completely drunk was actually no. Um yeah, actually it was. It was right before I left for deployment. My sister and her boyfriend had come up with some friends to Colorado to vacation and then see me. So I was still 19, just about to deploy. I had about probably like $20 left to my name until the next payday. And at this time, I was drinking pretty much 5 days a week with people that were of age that could buy alcohol in the barracks. So I had $20 left to my name. I had my sister's friend pretty much buy me as much as he could with the money. And which was that was about 12 shooters of Crown Apple, and we went to the infamous Copperhead Road Club in Colorado Springs. If you know, you know. It's a club where everyone goes that's in the military. I had already drank about two or three shooters before we went there, snuck the other 10, in my boots, drank all 11 of those throughout the night, and the only thing I remember were bits and pieces left after that. I had been so drunk I had thrown up in a urinal and passed out on a couch until last call. And I woke up the next morning back at the Airbnb with all of them. I was still drunk. I was sweating out freaking Crown Apple at that time. And that was the last time I had drank before deployment. So after I got back home from deployment, that's when everything pretty much picked up. I was still underage, still 20, had anyone that was overage just buy me whatever they could when they could, and I was drinking every night. Like, I was playing with fire at this point, being underage, drinking in the barracks every day. My depression and anxiety at that time was so bad that I would drink Disaronno. I would pour it in a coffee cup, like a coffee mug, and drink it before I'd go into work, which would be like 9 o'clock in the morning. So I had already been drunk by the time. I wouldn't say I was drunk, but I was definitely feeling it. I was buzzed by the time I'd get to work because it would mask how I truly felt, and it would make me smile at that point in time. And I thought I was being slick. I thought nobody knew until my squad leader at the time pulled me aside. He was very understanding. This was a different squad leader than I had during deployment because I had just been switched around because of the mental health aspects that I was going through. So he was understanding, I guess you could say. He knew I was drunk because I would never smile at work. I would never laugh. I wasn't as open. And so he talked to me. He's like, I know what you're doing, like he said it without saying it. He's like, I know what you're doing. I see you smiling. I see you're happy. Like, this isn't the way to go. And that was pretty much the end of the conversation. And my 20-year-old mind, it just went through one ear and out the other. I didn't realize what truly good of a leader that I had and what he was trying to tell me. It was just all blocked off by the the craving of chasing the high, pretty much. So I had eventually the alcohol would just wasn't cutting it anymore. And I was so depressed and sad that I would just cut myself um to feel pain because I was just so desperate. But I was so desperate to end my life. But at that point, I couldn't. I had nothing to. I didn't really think about it. Um, so I would get plaster drunk. I would cut myself, and that's when all the trips to the hospital started happening, to the emergency room. Somehow, my family, fiance knew back home like something was going on with me. They would get a hold of my team leader. I'd get a knock in my door while my arms are bloodied. I'm shit faced drunk. I'm crying. Snot's coming out of my face. I'm hyperventilating. I'm having panic attacks. Um, and we'd go and sit at the emergency room, and wait. I'd say no, I don't want to go inpatient. Like that's not what I want. I didn't want that kind of help at that time. So it just kept the cycle just kept repeating, and I kept digging myself into a deeper hole eventually until I went to therapy and had asked or admitted sort of on the outside that I wanted help and I needed help. So I got enrolled to a substance abuse program, was going to that for a couple of months with like a group of soldiers from all throughout Fort Carson, pretty much. And then eventually my chain of command sort of caught on, and my platoon leader was like, "Well, why do we have a soldier that's 20 years old, under the age, going to a substance abuse program for alcohol?" And so you can see where that's kind of leading. So I pretty much got in trouble for asking for help and facing the consequences for it, pretty much. So this in particular platoon leader made up lies about me, saying I lied to her, um, which it didn't happen. But at that time, like it was arguing like a brick wall. That I sort of just had to sit there and take it. And she was not threatening me; she was giving me a UCMJ, Article 15, anything that she could to try and throw my ass in prison or get me out of the military. And my chain of command, my squad leader, team leader, all were as well. Like like we can't do anything about it. Like it's fighting with. We're going to be fighting a battle that we're not going to win. So, and they knew I was in deep shit at this time. So we just all went along with it. I was praying for the best, but I really didn't care at that point. I'm like, you know what? I want to unalive myself. I want to drink my life away. So, you know what? Bring it on. Send my ass to prison. Like, at that point, you'll probably be doing me a favor. And so this was all around the time that COVID started happening. So everything started to shut down. And I got pulled into my first sergeant's office, got read my UCMJ, like you're going to be, you could go to no shit prison for this. And I was like, you know what? I really couldn't care less. Send me, I really don't care. So eventually he got to the commander's office. He's like, like, I'm not going to deal with this, so we're just going to kick you out pretty much. Um, which they didn't kick me out. I got out with all of my benefits and everything like that. Um, so that whole process was going of getting out of the military because I just we were trying to fix something that couldn't be fixed at that time. And that was the best option for everyone. So I was still drinking. I was just sort of more careful about it. I had sort of started turning to abusing over the counter medicine as well. Like 20-year-old dumbass, I don't know where the hell to get hard drugs, you know? I don't know what's gonna kill me if I take too much of it. So I just drank NyQuil, DayQuil. Didn't kill me, but I got high off of it. Um, I tried to kind of off myself, unalive myself in front of one of my close friends in the military. And I don't remember much from that night, but I just remember trying to drink. I had already drank, I was already drunk. I tried drinking more, like a whole bottle of DayQuil. Um, Granted, that probably wouldn't have unalived me, but I was just so desperate enough. That's all we had. And I drank most of it. There was probably about like a quarter of it left, and she snatched it out of my hands, and I like woke up, passed out on the floor. Lord knows how much time went by. So that's when I knew I had a problem, but I didn't think it would go to the extent that it did. So I got out of the military, um, got home, and everything sort of took off from there. Right after I got home, about a month, or not even like 2 weeks after I got home, I turned 21. So from there on, it was sort of just opening the gates for me to be able to buy anything I wanted, when I wanted, how much I wanted. So I was just like a kid in a candy store. I was buying packs of anything that sounded good. At this time, it was mainly beer. It wasn't really anything hard. Besides Disaronno. Don't ask me why. It just tasted good, and I would just drink. I would get drunk every night. Um, and I'm telling this story to the best of my knowledge. You know, like I honestly, as shameful as it is, I don't remember much about it. I'll have we'll have a better insight from somebody else to fit the missing pieces in between my story. Um, so the first it was about a month after I left the military. I was just so depressed. I was so lost, drinking every night, getting drunk, and I didn't realize to the extent of how bad it really was until I pretty much got caught cheating again with the same person. And my fiance, I remember it like it was yesterday, man. Like I was asleep and she looked at my phone, found it all, woke me up, and I got kicked out pretty much. I was already drunk from before I fell asleep. So I I left. I was driving, didn't know where I was gonna go, didn't know what I was gonna do, but I knew I wanted to wrap my truck around a tree, and that's what I was going to do. Um, but the way God works, I forgot my phone. I believe it was my phone, my wallet at her house. So I went back to get it, and her dad stopped me and told me to go sleep it off and we'll figure it out in the morning. So, because he knew I was drunk, he knew I was going to do something stupid or I was going to end up somewhere bad. So, I went and laid down, locked the door. I couldn't bear laying in that bed in that house. Like I wanted to kill myself. Sorry, unalive myself. So, and I was desperate enough. I was drunk as hell. I was about 3 or 4 times over the legal limit. So I jumped out the window in the house. It was about like a 7 foot window. Man, like I pretty sure I got a concussion too because I fell right out of that damn window. Landed on my back. Was just dazed. I was staring up the stars trying to catch my breath. And I had my phone. I got up. It was about 2, maybe 3 in the morning. I was just walking, crying my eyes out. I was just bawling. And I knew for sure I could not come back from this at all. I know I said that before and I thought it before, but I knew for sure like this was the end of me and my life that I had looked forward to for so long. I knew it was the end. So I had one last final straw, one last little bit of hope in there for myself, and I called. This was the first time I called the VA hotline, and oh, man, sorry guys. I called the VA hotline, and I was talking to them for probably about an hour, still walking, the middle of the night, walking in the middle of the street, drunk as hell, crying my eyes out, talking to the VA hotline. I didn't know, still didn't know where the hell I was gonna go. I was just walking, and I walked past this barbershop that was being remodeled by these two people, this couple, and they noticed me. They noticed I was crying. Um and I told them who I was. I was a veteran. I had just gotten home and like I'm going through some stuff right now. And I don't know if it was an angel or God intervening again, but you know, this guy, he took the phone from me, and I had already admitted to the VA hotline that I was going to kill myself. So, and I had told him, like, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to wait for a car and I'm going to jump out in front of it and I'm going to hope that it kills me going fast enough. So, he talks to the lady on the hotline. I'm sitting on the curb outside, just bawling my eyes out. He gives me back my phone, and he's like, I got you some help, like I got you. It's gonna be okay. And the VA hotline, had asked where we were. So she had gotten the cops to come out. I'm sitting on the curb still. These cop cars roll up. I'm like, oh man, like this is how it's gonna be, like man, I'm gonna be one of those veterans that does something stupid and ends up getting shot, but that's just I'm desperate enough and that's how it's gonna go. So still crying at this point, still drunk as hell. I could not see anything. My contacts were out. I had my glasses in my pocket, and they were got out, asked me what I was doing. Am I okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. Like, I'm gonna kill myself. And it was obviously pretty obvious that I was drunk. So they were patting me down, the whole thing. Put my hands up. Couldn't see anything at all. Everything was blurry. And I had like reached in to grab my glasses. Don't ask me, stupid thing to do. And they like drew their guns at me. I'm like, wow, like this is where I'm at in life. I'm about to die right here on the street. But luckily, that didn't happen that way. The situation got de-escalated. I got in the cop car. Wasn't put in handcuffs or nothing. They're like, okay, well, we got you. We got your back. They drove me to the hospital. Still bawling my eyes out like crazy, drunk as hell. They didn't let me leave. They like were like, okay, well, you're gonna have to sit here and wait till you get sober. And that was like, I got out at 8 o'clock that morning, so that I was sitting there for about five, 5 hours, 6 hours, somewhere around there, and got picked up. And I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life at that point. My whole plan of unaliving myself fell through. So that is when I realized I had a problem. And those were one of the consequences I faced um, because of alcohol. So I had sort of, earned my place in my fiance's life again at that point. Um, we thought that it would all get better if we moved in together, like just us on our own. So that's what we did, and it didn't fix anything at all. Everything was good for a little while, and then I just picked up drinking right again. Like there was nothing that was helping me at all. So uh I was drinking every night from four four in the afternoon until I passed out, pretty much. I would go through a 30 pack of beer every 2 days. And like I said, everything was still pretty shut down because of COVID at that point. So I wasn't really picky. I was getting whatever I could wherever was open. And eventually my therapist was like, okay, well, every time you open a can of beer, take off the tab and throw it in a cup and count them after the morning after. And somehow, my drunken self, I was able to complete it multiple times uh, throughout that time period. And on average, I was drinking 15 to 16 beers in one sitting. And it was so bad that I was like, there was just beer cans everywhere, all around me. And a couple of times I was just sitting on the couch and I would pass out. And I'd wake up the next morning. I'm like, wow, like, what happened? Like, I don't remember falling asleep. So that went on for about a year. There was a lot of screaming matches between me and my fiance, many of things thrown throughout the house. I had my paperwork from when I got out of the military framed up. I would constantly punch them things. They were glass, the picture frames. I would constantly punch them and break them. And maybe for self gratification. I don't know. So in total, I would drink 30 beers in 2 days. So I would, on average, drink 90 beers a week. And so eventually, it wasn't it wasn't enough. I wanted less volume and more, I guess, a faster way of getting drunk. So I moved up to the handles of Jim Beam. Um, I would drink that in about 2 or 3 days. Just I would drink about a quarter of it each night. So yeah, 3 days. Um, and I eventually saw what it was doing to my relationship through the little windows of sobriety that I had during that time. And I had tried multiple times to get sober. I did it about a handful of times. I medically detoxed once. Um, like I was shut off in my room in my bed, feeling like I was dying. Um, there was no way I was going to leave my fiance for months to go to rehab. So we had opted to do the at home medical detox, which is with the pills, you take like 2 times a day. I don't remember exactly the name of it, but you take them so your brain, you don't have seizures and everything like that. So I was locked in my room for about a week and just shaking constantly, feeling like I'm floating, honestly, and throwing up and dry heaving, losing my mind, seeing things that weren't there. And eventually, by day 6, shaking had stopped, dry heaving had stopped. I was just so depressed. Um, my mind was as dark as that damn room at that point. By day 7, I had finally got out of bed, walked out of the room, and felt like, wow, like this is it. Like I'm good to go. I'm good to face this world again. At that point, I had only been sober the longest time for three months, just about 90 days. So it was good. And then I drank again, and we would be right back to where we started, maybe drinking a little bit less. So we eventually decided to move cities in hopes of a fresh start. But before that happened, I had the absolute worst night of my life. But of course, to get to better days, you have to have your lowest of lows. And I happened to have mine on September 11th, 2021. Um, I'm still very hesitant about telling this story because I'd be lying if I say I'm not a little bit of ashamed of it because I still am. Still have not forgiven myself. Um, I'm still worried about what people would think of me once they know that this this side of me was reality at one point. But it was September 11th, 2021. I had taken all my medication for mental health, uh, escitalopram, bupropion, gabapentin, um, and I wasn't conscious of the side effects that those medications had with alcohol. So I drank like any normal night, took my medication. Um, we lived in apartments at the time, so I was talking to my neighbor. He was sort of like a pothead, whatever. He gave me a puff of something. I don't know if it was straight marijuana or not. I will never know if it was laced with anything or what. But them three in combination made something completely out of this world of me. And our apartments were 3 stories. I was so messed up. I had tried to throw myself over the railing, and my fiance came out and tried to stop me. And in doing so, I have no what is the word, recollection of doing this. I only have bits and pieces of this night. I had accidentally, you know, I was trying to get out of her grasp. She was trying to grab me and put me in back into the apartment so I wouldn't do anything to harm myself. And I she had me from behind. She was holding me down, and I was just fighting so hard to get out from her grasp. I like whipped around and hit her. And again, not meaning to. Um, I was just trying to go anywhere I could. And so I got out from her grasp. I took off somewhere, don't know where. I was just running around the apartment complex doing God knows what, screaming. I don't know how the hell I didn't get called cops on me. So eventually she sees, like, this is too much for me. I'm out of hand. She can't control me. So she calls my sister to come and like hopefully try and get me to calm down. And she gets there. I like freaking jump on the roof of her car, and from what she's told me, I said something, I don't remember what, but my eyes were like pitch black. And she's like, you know what, just go to your family's house and let me like do whatever the hell I'm gonna do. So they did. My sister left. My fiance's dad came and picked me up. Um, he was looking for me. I don't know if he was gonna beat my ass or not, which I deserved it at that point. But I was off somewhere doing my own thing, hiding in the rocks, hiding in the bushes. I tore my knee up. I was jumping off of a freaking fence or jumping over a fence, tore my knee, and that's literally everything I remember from that night. I don't even remember how I got back into the house. I don't remember how I got into bed. But the next morning I woke up in the bed. Nobody's here. My dogs are here, but they're in the corner, like avoiding me and my presence. Um, so like I'm just like, what happened? Like waking up alone, like I know this isn't good. So eventually she comes back the next day, and she has she doesn't look me in the eyes until eventually I see her face is bruised. And I'm like, fuck, man, like, I did this. This was me. And the that I like literally felt my heart just drop. Like, yep, this is it. This is who I am, and this is who I've become. So I immediately, pour everything, every ounce of alcohol that I have out in front of her, and I'm like, this is it. This is it. I'm not doing this anymore. I will quit for you. I will quit for us. Eventually, I did. Another 3 months went by, and we were still in a bad spot mentally. Both of us, we were both being drained by me, essentially. So we packed up, moved to another city, a city where I'm at now, and that's where I picked up on the hard liquor and things like that. So I was drinking a handle 2 days. Probably did that for about a year, and eventually, like, my body just started shutting down. My body started rejecting it all, and I was just starting to feel it physically. Like, I never got hangovers until that point. Like, I started getting hangovers every day. I started getting headaches. My liver enzymes were through the roof. My kidney enzymes were through the roof. And that was sort of the waking up point for me. Um, that was sort of the thing that pushed me over the edge. Like, okay, like, this is real. This is happening. My body is shutting down because I'm slowly killing myself every day and not really paying no mind to it. Like, I'm no shit killing myself with this substance. So I vowed to myself to stop, vowed to my fiance to stop. I don't know how she didn't believe me. Don't know how she put up with me, but she did, thankfully. It's a really deep topic, guys. So, um, and then gradually, just over time, I slowed down my drinking. I set short term goals for myself, instead of, okay, well, I'm not going to drink for a year. I knew that wasn't attainable. I knew that wasn't a realistic goal. So I told myself, I was gonna be sober for a week. I would only drink on 2 days of that week, or I would drink 2 days a week, and that was it. And that helped a little bit, but eventually, like I realized it wasn't a realistic fit for my life. So eventually, I 'cause I did that for about a year. So eventually, the beginning of this year, January, I wasn't happy with the way I was beginning this year. I was still drinking a little bit and still getting drunk, and I wasn't happy. Like, I was like, we can't have another year of this. So, by the grace of God, the people that were put into my life through jujitsu were doing this 75 hard challenge. No alcohol, no, you gotta work out, drink water, all this stuff for 75 days. I got, that was really the kickstart that I needed because I knew I wasn't doing it alone. I guess helped me a lot. Just remind myself I wasn't the only one that wasn't drinking alcohol. So that helped me. And man, here we are now, 38 days sober. Yeah. And let me tell you, it is fucking liberating to be broken from something that had a hold on me that tight. Um, I never thought that I would get past it, but every day is a fight. Every day for the rest of my life, it's going to be a fight to continue to try and stay sober for myself, for my relationship, for other relationships around my life. Um, just a little bit of an overview of my substance abuse journey. Um, like I said, there are some things that I missed that I just don't remember, and we will get more insight on that when I we get to talk to my fiance. Probably talk to my sister a little bit about it, but um, just gonna get to a couple of questions. Did I ever abuse anything other than alcohol, just besides over the counter medication? That was it. Never did hard drugs or anything like that, thank God. Otherwise, there's no telling where we would be. But alcohol itself is an addiction that most people do not come back from. I'm one of the lucky ones that had the help around me to try and escape it. Um, I think getting out of the military sort of fed into the substance abuse more than in the military, because in the military it was completely normal to drink as much as we did, especially in the infantry. And like if you weren't drunk or you didn't show up to PT or formation drunk, like, or you even an infantryman, so getting home, getting out of the military, and it not being normal sort of made me just want to drink more the to avoid the knowledge of me being different and me being even more alone, because nobody around me was going through the same fight that I was going through. And also, as well as is not having a purpose anymore. Like, I was bawling my eyes out coming home, but I was ready to be home. That's all I wanted to. I wanted to be home. I wanted to be with my fiance, but I was still bawling my eyes out because I knew I did not have a purpose anymore. I did not know where I was going to go in life. I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought I was going to be in the military for 20 years and retire. I had all these aspirations in the military. I had all these aspirations for my life, and it got killed by my mind and a substance. Um, do I have any close calls besides the ones that I've mentioned? Like, by the grace of God, the UCMJ didn't go through for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if they just knew like I was in such a bad spot. They were like, we're not going to put anything else on this soldier. Like, just get him out, get him. Hopefully, they get the help that they need, but we're not going to do anything more to make this soldier go over the edge. Which that's just what I'm telling myself. What happened? Um, there is one close call that happened right in the beginning slash middle of my substance abuse journey. That was while I was still in the military. I was pretty much AWOL, drinking underage, drinking and driving. And I think this story I am most ashamed of because of the amount of people that have been affected and lost their lives because of this. So I do not condone it at all. But I was AWOL, wasn't where I was supposed to be while I was in the military, drinking, under the age, drinking and driving, right? I was speeding. I was trying to get home. It was a Sunday, so I was trying to get home before first formation on Monday. Speeding, I was probably going like 10 over the speed limit, maybe 20, maybe 15. And I fly by these cops. I'm like, fuck, like I'm getting pulled over. And the bad part about it is I had a beer in one hand and looked in my rearview mirror. And I was like, oh shit. Reached back, put it in my backpack, acted normal. I wasn't drunk. I was still not doing what you should be doing while driving, but I wasn't drunk. I was feeling good. So they pull up behind me. I stop. We have the typical interaction. Ask where I'm going. I'm like, I'm in the military. I'm just trying to get home, trying to get back to the base. They give me a ticket and they let me go. And I'm like this cannot be God watching over me because I am doing something so wrong in every way possible. There's no way he could have let me gotten away with that. And but the devil on my shoulder was like, get that beer can right back out your backpack and start drinking it again because you know what, you didn't get caught. So keep on drinking. And I did. I drove, took the beer out of my backpack, finished it, threw it back there, and I made it home, back to Fort Carson. I do not understand. I wouldn't say how. I wouldn't say I understand how lucky I was because I wasn't lucky. I was doing the worst thing possible that anyone could be, and I'll be the first to say it. But it was a very, very good lesson that I did learn, and that has stuck with me every day since that time. Now, did it stop me from drinking and driving again? No. Luckily, there are some nights where I don't even know how the fuck I got us home, but I did. And somehow I am not dead or wrapped around my truck around a tree because of it. And all of that accumulating over the years was enough for me to realize, this is not it. This is not the way to live. Eventually my luck is going to run out and I'm going to kill myself or I'm going to hurt somebody else. And that is not what I want. At that point in time, I had already hurt everyone around me. I'd already lost everyone around me pretty much because they had distanced themselves because of who I was and how much I was drinking. So I think that is the closest call I have ever had in my life. And I was still selfish enough to only think about myself and drink some more, not thinking about the consequences of others around me because of my actions. Um, but yeah, guys, on that note, we will get into the another perspective, a perspective from the outside in part two. So hopefully you guys can take this for what it is, learn from my mistakes, and if you need help with addiction, with substance abuse, you know, even if it's addiction to some sort of drug, every addiction is the same in some ways. I would rather be that listening ear for somebody rather than them not be as lucky as me and get second chances over and over again and get the help before it's too late. And I hope that this reaches that audience. I hope that whoever it is that you are brave enough to ask for help or anonymously, text me. I'm not going to judge you. I am the last person on this earth that who can judge you, who can judge another person fighting with addiction, any addiction at all. So please reach out to me. Feel free. I'm always open to talking, to listening, and we will get part 2 out very soon. Hopefully, we will have a special guest. Until then, thank you guys for watching. As always, like, subscribe, share. If I don't reach 1,000,000 people, I hope I reach 1. So I'll see you guys later for part 2 and episode 5. See you guys.